morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brandon Simmons. I'm a lieutenant with West Palm Beach Fire Department. Today we're going to talk about two newly revised policies that we need to address. The policies that we're going to discuss were developed were to reduce liability and enhance operations for fire and emergency service organizations. The two policies that we're going to discuss today is 101.01, communication and imaging devices. And the next policy we're going to discuss is 103.02, sick leave and emergency absence. These are two things that, like I said, have been newly revised, and they've been newly revised for a reason. We're trying to keep up with the times, keep up with the new things that are coming out, and this will definitely help our department in the best way. First one, 101.01, communication and imaging devices. The purpose of this policy is to establish guidelines for social media, message boards, and ownership of data. The scope, this policy is for all personnel, no matter if you're line personnel or administration. Everybody has to follow the same guidelines. The responsibility of this policy is for all personnel, that they should understand and practice this policy as a guideline when using social media, and company officers shall adhere to the policy and ensure that it gets done correctly. Real quick, we'll go over two definitions. Everybody knows what social media is. We're in 2020, and we've came in a very short time, a very long way with technology. Social media is the various forms of discussion and information sharing, including social networks, video sharing, podcasts, message boards, text messaging, and live streaming. Now, so what comes with personal social media and public social media is the possibility of people to get on there and say things that they probably wouldn't say to other people's face. It is what it is. So, social media harassment is unwelcomed pictures, posts, audio, video, and personal constituting a hostile work environment. Now, you can't do this on your personal social media platform. Why? Because we are firemen, we are the greater good of the public, and we can have that type of representation if you have our logo anywhere on your social media policy. This also includes our own departmental social media platforms, such as on Facebook and Instagram. We can't get on there and start writing comments that bring a bad light to the department. So general information about this policy applies to all employees, like I said earlier, doing business via social media or electronic platform with the West Palm Beach Fire Department. This policy covers work-related communication via West Palm Beach Fire Department owned equipment or employee personal devices. So, the newest part of this policy is, you see how we recently received Wi-Fi in all the stations. And everybody's excited that they can now, have unlimited access to internet, Wi-Fi while on duty, but it comes at a price. So the ownership of data. West Palm Beach Fire Department employees perpetuating business with the city are hereby notified that work-related data transmitted, received, accessed, or stored by the city of West Palm Beach network systems remain the property of West Palm Beach. That's very important, which means regardless if you're on the city computer, as I know, takes ages to work. It still works on like old Intel process stuff. Well, if you even use your own computer, whatever you log on to that you're connected to the city Wi-Fi, the city has access and they have ownership of whatever you do. So they know exactly every keystroke that you do, even on your personal cell phones and personal computers. That is very important. It's important because you have to adhere to the same city policies that you have on the city computer, on your personal technology, on the city Wi-Fi. So the next policy that we're going to discuss is 103.02, sick leave and emergency absence. The reason why we are going over this policy today is because with the coronavirus going on, I know there's the CARES Act and there's ways that you can use FMLA. Not what I can say to your advantage, but if we get sick, we're allotted to have time off because of it, especially if it's in extended stays. So the purpose of this policy is to establish guidelines for the use and actual accrual of sick leave and family medical leave for the Family and Medical Leave Act. The scope of this policy applies to all personnel. The responsibility, all personnel should understand this policy and guideline when using sick time. And it's responsibility of all personnel that they should understand this policy and guideline when using sick time. Real quick, FMLA entitles eligible employees to take unpaid, job-protected leave and specific family and medical reasons. So sick leave that is approved, personnel consistently uses this sick leave as it is earned. So every time you get a check every 2 weeks, you receive an allotted amount of sick time built into your bank, depending on how many years of service that you have. This is important because if you abuse it, it can actually be detrimental to you. How would you abuse it? So abusing means calling in sick back to back. So 48 hours, you use it, let's say use it on Monday, and then you use it on Thursday. That's back to back. You can't do that. That's automatic probation without a sick note. If you have a sick note, it negates it. Also calling it using repetitive sick days on the day before or after your Kelly day. It's all tracked, it's all monitored, they're looking. If this actually happens, the first occurrence without medical certification or verification of need shall be approved for absence with pay. The second occurrence is without medical certification or verification of need shall be approved for absence with pay and shall result in suspension up to 24 hours. And the third occurrence is 24-hour suspension may result into dismissal, meaning fired. As we know, 96 hours is the only amount of hours that we can call in sick a year. But like I said earlier, it can't be consistently used or abused in the manner that I just discussed. So, for FMLA is used for, like I said, if you had a spouse, a family member, a child, or a family member that's incapacitated for the most part, or your own injury. Eligible employees who meet FMLA requirements will be granted leave of absence for a maximum period of 12 months, rolling period, or 26 work weeks in the case of caring for a family member under FMLA, meaning birth of a child, foster care, adoption, care of employee's family member or domestic member, or for serious illness and pregnancy, and serious health conditions in employees. If employees have foreseeable future 30 days in advance, it shall be granted FMLA under the guidelines stated under the city charter and city code. For our specific city, for people who are able to give birth, for the women in the room, and for the dads that their wives or girlfriends or significant other wants to have a child, employees are entitled to use FMLA for the birth of a child, placement for adoption for a total of 12 months intermittently. So when I had my daughter, when I had my son, we didn't have this policy. Well, we talked about it now, it's newly revised. When I had my daughter, I was able to go on FMLA intermittently for the entire year, which means if I needed Wednesday off, I can take Wednesday off for any amount of time that I needed. I could use it stacked back the shift to shift, every shift that I had, as long as I had time in the bank. Or I could use it sporadically whenever I needed it. Also, if I use all of my sick time, I can actually, which I wouldn't want to do, but your job is protected where you can go without a paycheck if you didn't have the amount of sick time in the bank and still keep your job for that 12-month period. If you do have a wife or husband or girlfriend or, like I said, significant other, domestic partner, that works also for the city, this is important. If your husband or wife or domestic partner both work for the city and each wants to take leave for a birth of a child, adoption, or foster care, the couple may only be allowed to take a combined total of 12 weeks, not including the 12-month intermittent period given by the city of West Palm Beach. Anyway, thank you guys for having your undivided attention. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at my phone number, 561-312-5252, or email me, bhsimmons@wpb.org. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.